everyone, and welcome back to the Chromatic Knits podcast. My name is Michelle, and this is my place on the internet where I talk about all of my yarny adventures. I'm so glad to be back. It has been a very eventful month, and I have a lot of knitting to show you. So feel free to grab your own knitting, your laundry, your lunch, whatever it is that you're working on, needlepoint, crochet, whatever it is, and let's get into some crafty chat, shall we? So we're about halfway through the year at this point. Today is June 1st. I had to double check. I was like, wait. Yes, today is June 1st. So we are halfway through the year, basically. And I wanted to do a quick stash update because I haven't done one yet this year. So we're going to talk about what's gone into the stash, what's come out of the stash, and go from there. So I have it all written down. It's a lot of writing. So just want to make sure that I've got all my numbers written out. So far this year, 1,380 grams have gone into the stash, which is 5,520 meters. And then grams going out. So we're going to go through all of the different things that I've knit and how much yarn I've given away in those things and how much I've used. So 106.66 grams went towards the Jamie shawl. 270 grams, which is 940 meters, was given away. 7.55 grams. Yes, I'm going to do the hundredths because I'm a nerd and I want it to count. So here we are. 7.55 grams, which is 31.89 meters, went toward my March socks that I started March 2024 and finished like January or February of this year because I'm a winner like that. And apparently I have second sock syndrome. 77.24 grams, which is 169.93 meters, went toward that hat that I knit. 16.32 grams or 40.8 meters went into my granny stripe blanket. 37.87 grams or 174 meters went toward my Mitten advent calendar. 237.29 grams or 949.16 meters went toward my sweet shop blanket, which is one of the ones that's been getting the most love recently. That's patterned by Laura Penrose. And then 100 grams or 200 meters of my purple went into a UFO that you probably haven't seen on this podcast, or if you have, it was like the first episode and then never again. So I'm going to keep it as kind of like a secret because most of you probably have never seen it before and have no idea what it is. So, because it's been sitting in my closet for an embarrassingly long time, like several years. And you'll see why that happened in a minute. 78.25 grams of the white, or 192.5 meters, went into the UFO. 62.7 grams or 250.8 meters went into that UFO. And then 186.62 grams or 409.2 meters went into dishcloths, because I was on a dishcloth phase for a bit. So altogether, all of those things, I have so far used or given away 1,180.5 grams or 3,603.6 meters. So all in all, sorry, my allergies are crazy. We're supposed to get this like crazy dust storm plus like this weather front. It's a lot. Anyway, so basically I've added 199.5 grams to my stash. So when you think about it, in the grand scheme of things, that's honestly less than I thought it was going to be. So I'm good with that. That's like literally 2 skeins. So not even. That's like literally about 2 skeins. And then it's 1,916.4 meters, because everything that I purchased was fingering weight. It's going to have a lot more meterage on it than some of like the worsted weights that I used up for some of those projects. Like that hat was worsted weight. Those dishcloths are worsted weight. Some of the UFO yarns are DK. So yeah. So that's why there's kind of a difference. The granny stripe granny stripe blanket is DK. So yeah. So that's why that is that way. But yeah, I mean, I'm really focused on the number of skeins, so it's really just 2 skeins. So I am totally cool with that, and I'm about to get rid of a few more skeins. So we're going to be in the negative, hopefully. But I have some news at the end of things that I'm going to be going to over the summer, so that may change. So first thing I want to bring up is this is Knit Nation. Sorry, I don't know if it's going to be backwards or not. Knit Nation is a knitting newspaper. It's new. This is only the 2nd edition of this newspaper. And I think this really fills a gap since Pom Pom stopped printing, and it's printed in the United States, so it's rather cheap for us. If your first issue that you purchase is free, and then you just have to pay shipping on it. So it's only like a couple bucks to get your first one, and then after that it's about $10 or so, depending on shipping, depending on how far away you live. But I mean, for that's a bargain. Like, this has really quality articles. It has like historical articles about knitting. This one has an article about the history of knitting patterns. So when the first knitting patterns were, what they looked like, what they sounded like. It's got the history of a couple of different types of patterns. It's got a bunch of patterns in it, and some recommendations for some like tools, movies to watch while knitting, those types of things. It has puzzles, so it has like a crossword puzzle. It has like a word scramble in it. It's got comics. It's got a mystery story that's in here, that you read from issue to issue. So I think there's 9 issues it's going to be in. Oh my gosh, I just got something in my eye. Anyway, that's fine. But yeah, so it's got pretty much everything and anything that you would want, and it's quality stuff. So would highly recommend if you get a chance. I did read this whole thing I just got it yesterday. So between yesterday and today, I have basically read the whole thing. I may have like binge read it. It's fine. Because it's so good. That's why. And then there's an article in here about pattern notes from the Twilight Zone. That had me going because I was like, yes, but also no. Because the whole thing is about how people write notes for themselves on their patterns, and they're like, that yarn that we used, you know, the one. And then you come back, you make it a UFO, like this pattern that I'm going to show you, and then you like have no idea what that means. Like, so I know myself, and from day to day, like if I worked on this a week ago and I came back today, I would literally have no idea what I had done. Like, if I saw that, like that, oh yeah, that yarn that you like, you know, the one, I would literally be like, no, I don't. Like, I literally have no idea, because future Michelle has like 0 memory. I have like a goldfish memory where like you can tell me something and it is immediately out the ear, like immediately. And so the whole time I was reading that article, I was like, yes. I was like, I literally have no clue what Like, this blanket, and I'll talk about the tool that I use. If this blanket had not been in the tool that I use, I absolutely would not have been able to start again. Like, I would have just been like, and scene, and just cast it off. Because I literally would have no idea where I was in the pattern. So yeah, so leaving yourself notes. I know people who do write notes on their patterns. My friend Tina really likes to write notes on her patterns. I generally do not print my patterns because I know myself, and I would immediately lose that written pattern. Number one, I would either immediately lose it, or I would write something on there that's not helpful, or I would write something on there that would like get smeared or be illegible, or like I'd spill a drink on it or something, and it'd be like lost to the universe forever. So no paper knitting patterns for me. The ADHD brain does not allow for that. Because I know myself, and I 100% know that I am never going to remember any of that. So I have to leave myself a really good trail to figure it out. I have to pretend like a stranger is going to be reading and figuring out this pattern the next time I pick it up. Because Lord knows I'm not going to remember. Period. Does anybody else feel like that? That you're just like anytime you put it down, it doesn't matter the duration that you've put it down for, but just like, you know that it is not going to stay up here for more than like the next 5 minutes. Like, you're like, and scene. And we're done. Especially when I knit later at night. I wake up the next morning and I'm like, I literally don't remember what I did. And it's been like less than 12 hours. So, yeah. But I just thought that was really funny. I was like, people remember stuff? Like, even if they do write it down? I'm like, dang. I was like, not me. Absolutely not. Okay. So I have a bunch of knitting to show. I'm going to take a quick drink because my allergies are acting up and my throat is being weird. This, oh my gosh, y'all. This is the Summer Berry Refresher from Starbucks. It's come out the past 2 summers, and I freaking love it. It's like blue raspberry flavor, and it's the best thing in the whole wide world. And this morning I was like, absolutely. It's got raspberry boba in it. That's what it looks like I'm chewing. Okay. Refresh. So, I have one finished object. It's a very small one, but it still counts. And have I sewn in the ends of it? Obviously not. Of course not. That's not it. And obviously, the one that I'm looking for is not in this bag for some reason. Oh well. Anyway, you're just going to take my word for it. But I finished mitten number 19 of my advent calendar. That's really bothering me now. I gotta find it. Okay, so I finished number 19 of this mitten advent calendar. If you've ever seen this podcast, you have 100% seen this mitten advent calendar, because I've been working on this for my whole life, it feels like. Because, so I knit a mitten advent calendar for my partner. Now I'm knitting one for myself, and then when I finish this set, then I have one more set to make for one of our friends. So, yeah. But anyway, I need to find that. Well, okay, so I knit the 20th one. I literally don't no idea where it went. So this is my second time recording this podcast because the first time I got hiccups like really bad at the end. And it was not good. So I had it when I recorded it the first time. And now I don't. See, this is why I can't write things down. If they have to be like taped to my person or something, because otherwise I will lose them immediately. Okay, so this is mitten number 20. It is almost done. I've knit the mitt part of it, but not the thumb. So I just need to knit the thumb, which shouldn't take me very long. And then number 20 will be done, and then I have 4 more, because there are 24 in the Advent calendar garland, and then I'll have to sew in all these ends, and I'm definitely not looking forward to that. Sewing in the ends of 24 mittens is no fun. So, but I watched, so if you've ever seen Scandier Knits, I watched from the very beginning. So like first episode, like I didn't watch it when it came out. Like I found her podcast, and then I got really interested, and I started from the first episode and watched the rest of her videos. So, but if you watch her videos, the beginning videos, she is also working on this, and she figured out that if you get foam board and then you cut it to like the size of the mitten and you put it in there, then you can block it out to that size, because there's no like mitten blocker that's going to be this big, because humans don't have hands this big unless they're like born. Unless they're just, but like they're not going to make a blocker that's this size, because you're going to use it for like 5 days and then your kid's going to grow bigger. So yeah, so she found that you could just cut up some foam board and block it. So that's my plan, and that's what I did with the first set. So that's what I'm going to do with the second set too. But yeah, they're really pretty. I really like them. So this is the North Star, obviously. And then yeah, we'll finish. So I'm hoping to finish mine this summer, because I still have 4 to go. And these, like, they're super small, but the yarn that you use is super small, and the needles you use are super small. So it really just takes forever. Like, you think that it wouldn't, but I swear that this mitten takes as long as like a full-size adult mitten, because of the colorwork detail and the number of colors. So sometimes you are carrying 2 colors. Sometimes you are carrying 3 colors. I think there's one that has 4 colors in it. So, yeah. So it's just like, to detangle yourself takes extra time. And to make sure that you're catching your floats constantly. So, but yeah. I've got number 20 almost done. So this will be done for next time. And hopefully 21 will be started. I thought I heard Aria, my dog. So we'll see if she joins us. I don't know. And then the main project that I've been working on is my Sweet Shop blanket by Laura Penrose. And I just noticed when I recorded this for the first time that I done messed it up. So that's fine. So the thing is, so when I showed this last, I really only had like a couple of groups of 3 done. I maybe only had like 9 squares, and now I have like 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, almost 29 squares. So a lot of progress on this blanket. This is all done with scraps or minis. And if you notice, I showed it to my friend Tina yesterday, but I was like, oh, something's wrong when I picked this up and showed it on the podcast that I recorded yesterday. And then I was like, oh, these are backwards. So like these ones go this way and these ones go this way. But like, am I gonna fix it? No. I'm gonna leave them, because honestly, unless someone's really looking, like, I don't even think they'll notice, to be honest with you. And I just really don't want to. Like, it's fine. I'm not worried about it. So now I'm adding I'm adding another column to this. So I'm on, how even is this needle on here? Okay. So I'm almost done with this square, which is also back. Oh no, it's not backwards. Okay, cool. I thought it was backwards for a second. I was like, why do I do this to myself? Anyway, so I am finishing another square, and then I'm gonna make this column because it's supposed to be 9 across. So I was like, well, before I get this row all the way across, I want to make sure that it's like the actual width that it's supposed to be. So it's supposed to be 9 across, and then it's going to be 11 up and down. So it's 99 squares total. So I'm about a quarter of the way there, a little bit over a quarter of the way there. But yeah, this has been getting the most love. Would recommend this pattern. It's pretty simple. I do it mostly when I'm working, because it's one that you don't have to think about too much, except when you're adding squares, you just need to figure out like which way they need to go. But once you start the square, like the pattern is basically the same for all the squares. It's just setting it up is different for depending on like if it's on the right side or the left side, or if it's like between squares or whatever, or an end square. So, but yeah, like I said, this is all scraps and minis. And I'm just looking to use up my mini stash. And I'm holding fingering double. So, because I have a lot of fingering minis, and because the yarn that I use the most is fingering weight. So I had the most scraps in fingering weight for this. So yeah. So that's where we're at with this. So it's getting there. Again, we're a little bit over a quarter of the way. And then we will eventually, it will eventually grow up to be a blanket. So that's exciting. It's by Laura Penrose. I would recommend, if you have questions, I would recommend talking to the designer, because there's one section, so on the top square of it, because you start out with like a diamond, you're supposed to be making the whole thing like this, and I decided that I didn't want to do that. So I'm just kind of like using the pattern and like figuring out like which one I need to do based on what it looks like in the pattern. But when you do the top square, the instructions were not very clear on how you do that. So I literally had like, the first time I tried this pattern, I reached out to the designer and she said it's written in the pattern. Like, she basically was like, you're dumb, figure it out. And I was very put off by that, and that just made me have like bad vibes with this pattern. And then one of my friends decided that she wanted to make it, and we made it together, and I refused to work on it without her, and I was like, you have to explain to me what I do next. But now I've pretty much figured it out, so now it's just kind of like copy paste situation. So would recommend this pattern. Just keep in mind that top square, like, to me just made no sense, and I brought it to my knit group, and they also like had no idea what it meant, and then Tina figured it out. So have a Tina in your life is what I'm trying to say. She's our figure it outer. Okay, so that leads us to my UFO. This project has been sitting in timeout for a very long time. And if I had not put this pattern into the Knit Companion app when I started it circa 2021, I literally would have had no idea where I was. So if you're not familiar with Knit Companion, I'm going to go ahead and open. So this is the Sweet Shop pattern. I'll just show the front page, which isn't really showing anything off. So this is just the picture of the pattern. But basically, this app, see this highlight line? You can move it to the line that you're working on in the pattern. Like magic. And then if you have the souped up version, like there's like a version that you can pay for, you can write notes in here if you want to, and you can download patterns from Ravelry, you can download patterns from a Dropbox, and you can download patterns from this device. So, or from the internet. So it's really handy if you use Ravelry. If you don't use Ravelry, it's also handy because you can just download the pattern to the iPad and then you can upload it. And I would highly recommend Knit Companion. It had really saved my life with this pattern, because if I did not have Knit Companion, I literally would have had to just like bind it off and accept failure. So, yeah. So would recommend. You can also have, so like when you start a project, you can name it whatever you want. So like if you're making multiple for the same person, you can say like Susie's hat and then Sally's hat or whatever. So, and then you can change pages. You can do all kinds of things. You can edit it. You can set it up differently. You can write on it. You can change what it looks like. You can flip it around, flip the picture around. So yeah, there's a lot you can do with this app. Would highly recommend. I know a lot of people paid for the souped up version. I don't, because I don't leave myself notes, because I know myself, and as previously mentioned, they would not be helpful. Because I don't know about you, but my handwriting when I'm writing on a electronic device is like a million times worse than it is in real life. Like whenever I sign something on like a tablet or whatever, I'm like, are those letters? Like I'm like, what the hell is that? So just imagine writing notes to yourself like that, and it just can't. So, but and then you can use this and this to line up, like if you're looking, sorry, I kind of bent it down. So there's a line in the middle. There's like a blue line in the middle. I don't know if you can see that very well. There's blue line right here that you can move around, and then you can move this around. So like if you're working on a chart, you can kind of move these around to match where you are in the chart. So that's super helpful too. Would recommend. You can download it on any Apple or Android device, and it is a free download app. It's just if you want those added features like writing notes, being able to edit your patterns, those types of things, then you have to pay a monthly fee for it. I don't know what that fee is because I don't pay for it, but I know people that do pay for it, because I think you can also pay an annual fee if you don't want to pay it monthly and you get a discount. But yeah, I paid for the souped up version originally when I first downloaded it, and I just never used those features. So now I just don't pay for it because I didn't use it. But a lot of people do find it handy. If you are a note taker, then would highly recommend. And then those notes and everything stays there until you until you delete that pattern from your device. Or you delete the app, obviously. So the pattern that has been a UFO in my closet forever is the Slipstravaganza blanket by Stephen West. Now, this blanket has, in the instructions, it says that you need 2 60-inch cable needles. Okay, so for those playing the home game, 60-inch is 20 inches longer than the longest cable in a normal set. The only needles that I could find with a 60-inch cable were Addies. They were the only ones that I could find on anywhere, on just like Googling and on Amazon and anywhere else, yarn stores. I called around. I was like, I need a 60-inch cable, and they were like, what? They're like, they make those? And I was like, apparently. in Amsterdam. Like, I don't know, because that's where Stephen West lives. And I'm just like, I don't freaking know. So, yeah, you need 2. Currently, just as an FYI, before I show this pattern, it has 1,656 stitches on the needles. For those of you playing the home game, that is a crap load of stitches. Which means it literally takes me hours, if not multiple days, to do a row on this project at this point. Which is why it ended up in the closet, because there were just so many stitches. I felt like I wasn't making progress, and my mojo just tanked. And so I was like, I need to do something smaller, and I never went back to it until recently. So, Slipstravaganza blanket. I am making the bigger version because I figure it's a blanket, and if I'm going to make it and go through all this work, I want the bigger version. So the smaller version would have finished already. The bigger version has not. It has like all this yarn stuck to it somehow. This isn't even, I don't know. Anyway, it's all tangled. I'm just, whatever. So, this is the blanket. Let's see if I can show you without it falling off all the needles. We'll find out. It'll be fine. So you start out with this big circle of your main color in the center. And I know that you can't see it, but this is, I'm holding 2 light fingering together. This is a DK weight blanket. And this black was originally dyed with colors. So there's like purples and greens in here. And then it was over dyed with black. So you can kind of see the purples and the greens coming through the black, which makes it really cool. So it's almost like opalescent, which is why I picked it, because it's so cool and has that added feature to it. So you start out with this circle, and then you go on to do honeycombs. So you do honeycombs, and you keep alternating your contrast colors. So my contrast colors are Bear. This is Tegan by Homespun House. This is Purple, which is a Drops alpaca yarn. And then I go back to the Tegan and back to the undyed yarn. And then you go to this like moss stitch sort of situation, if you can see that. And then you go to a section of bubbles. So just alternating between all of the different contrast colors. And then you go to this section of kind of like blocks of rows, sort of, kind of like a T chart situation. And then you have triangles, so you can't really tell because they're all kind of bunched up on the needles, but these purple bits are triangles because eventually you're gonna have like a chevron situation on the outside. So you do the triangles in purple, and then there's a row of the black, and then there's a row of the white. And you probably can't even see the black very well because it kind of blends into the purple. But yeah, so you do the black, you do the main color, and then you do your first contrast color. So, and then in this pattern, okay, so keep in mind, there are 1,656 stitches on the needles. A couple rows ago, the pattern was like, okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to knit 16, and then you're going to place the marker, and then you're going to knit 3 and place a marker, and then you're going to knit 16 and place a marker, and then you're going to knit 1 and place a marker, and you're going to repeat that until you run out of stitches. If you do the math, you need roughly 100 stitch markers to make that happen. So I have, if you can even see this very well, I have so many progress keepers and stitch markers on here. It's basically my whole stash. And honestly, I was telling people when I started this row, I was like, honestly, I might have to hit you up for some progress keepers and stitch markers because I may not have enough. So I have like all of my stitch markers, all of my progress keepers on there. 2 just fell off, so some needles are falling out of the stitches. So I've got these guys right here, so I'll have to figure out where those go. We'll just set them on that notebook there. But yeah, so I am making some progress on that, and I plan to finish it because I'm so close to the end, and yet so far because it takes so long to do 1 row. Aria just came up here, so you may see her, may not. Hi, Beepy. I love you. Do you want to say hi to the people? Let me pick you up. Here's my girl. Hello. She has her little heart toy that she got for Valentine's Day. Yeah. You're so cute. Yeah. We air tagged her because she's so cute and we were afraid that people would take her. Here, I'll put you back down. There you go. Love you. Okay. She's like, that is not what I signed up for. Okay, so a lot has happened. I have a lot of updates. I'll leave those there. Those progress keepers and stitch markers. So a couple things. I will be going to Christmas in Oklahoma, which is a fiber festival in Sapulpa, which is outside of Tulsa. That is going to take place the end of the 3rd week of July. So I will be there. I'm planning on taking a class or 2 and then going into the marketplace. I may just go for 1 day, maybe that Friday. But if you are wanting to go and you are wanting to meet up, please let me know. I would love to meet up with you at that event. And I'm really excited about it. It's like literally a 20-ish minute drive from my in-laws. So I was like, yes, I have a place to stay. And I'm going to be there anyway because we usually go visit them in July. So it really is just working out because I already had that time off. So I'm super excited. Another place that I will also be getting yarn, which is why my in and out is going to be so messed up. So my friends and I are going to DFW and I am so excited, y'all. I am so excited. I've never been to DFW. I've never been to a fiber festival, period. And I am so excited. Like, I can't even explain. I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun. We're taking classes. We're going to be going to the marketplace. One of my best friends lives in Dallas, so I can go visit her. It's like Christmas is happening. Like all the pieces just fell into place. And it was beautiful and I loved it. And my friend Tina helped me out and that she's allowing me to go with them. And I'm so freaking excited. So my luck got really good for that. Let's do a bit of a life update. If you're not interested in the life update, please feel free to drop. Thank you so much for coming. I do not have really any other knitting stuff to talk about. So thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you coming. We're going to do a bit of a life update and talk about my knitting mojo a bit. And then that is it. So life update. A few weeks ago, like this is a saga. So get ready, grab your popcorn, be prepared. Let me take a drink first before I do this because I'm gonna need it because it's long. It's a semi-long story. So good. Stay. Okay. So a few weeks ago, my doctor prescribed me a new medication. A medication that he says shouldn't really have any side effects because your body doesn't even process it that much. It just helps absorb things that are in your system. So I took that medication on a Sunday, and within 20 to 30 minutes, my face started swelling and burning up, on fire. my cheeks were on fire. Like I wet a towel and I put it in the freezer and was constantly like using it to keep the swelling down and the burning down. And then the next day I woke up and I basically had the flu. It was so bad. And I had a high fever and I was like so hot that I felt like I was freezing. Like I was almost 102 temp, and which is really high for me because my normal temperature is like 96 something. Side note, this is just a funny story. I didn't realize. Okay, so like our thermometer lights up different colors. Like it has like a stoplight system. Like green is fine, yellow is like meh, and then is like 99 to 100, and then 100 and up is red, right? Because that's like your fever is bad. And this is Fahrenheit for anyone that is abroad. So I didn't I thought that our thermometer was just shit and didn't light up because my normal temperature is like 96 something, and it doesn't turn green until you hit 98. So I thought it was just crappy and didn't light up because I'd never seen it light up before because my temperature is always so much lower. Anyway, side note. So, okay, that Monday I felt horrible. And then I went to work on Tuesday and they let me out early because I was so miserable. And then I went to the doctor the next day and he was like, "Fun fact, you have a kidney infection." And I was like, "I've never had a kidney infection before. I wonder how that happened." And it was like, "Don't know." And I was like, "Good." I'm like, "Could it be because I got sick all day Monday?" And he was like, "Maybe." And I was like, "Good." And then Thursday, I thought I had a pain and swelling and redness in my leg, which are all signs of a deep vein thrombosis, which is a blood clot, which I have had several in the past. And so I was like, "Hey, my leg hurts. I have all these symptoms. I think it might be a blood clot." They sent me for an ultrasound and they showed that it was not a blood clot. There was no blood clots in my system, which is great. But the other thing that it has the same symptoms is cellulitis, which is a bacterial infection in your skin. Another infection I've never had. And so they were like, so we have to put you on this. So they put me on 2 different antibiotics for each infection, one for each infection. Okay. And then, Aria just moved, and so I was afraid she was going to knock over my drink. So they put me on these 2 antibiotics that I've never been on. Okay. And I started feeling better and my fever went down. But then a week later, so like Thursday, I go to the emergency room initially. A week later, the next Thursday, I wake up itching because I am covered in hives. Like literally from the top of my head to the balls of my feet. Like I am covered in hives. And I'm so itchy. So itchy. Fun fact, that is a normal drug reaction, apparently, that it takes a week before it shows up because it has to build up to like maximum potential before it makes your body just die, apparently. And then, so I have this rash, a full body rash. It's not good. And, I just start like I have my partner help me and I'm putting cortisone cream just everywhere. It was horrible and it was like one of the worst things that's ever happened to me. And I had to do a training that day and they were like, "Why aren't you putting your camera on?" And I was like, "Because I literally have hives everywhere." Like I was like, "Because if you saw me, you'd be like, you need to go to the doctor." Like so by Sunday, my face had swollen up to the point that I could barely see. My eyes were like legit slits. And then my mouth was so swollen, I could barely open it at all. And so they admitted me to the hospital for a severe drug reaction is what they admitted me for. And they put me on IV antibiotics and IV Benadryl and IV steroids. And so many doctors came in to see me, and I was admitted for 4 days. So while I was in the hospital, I literally could not do anything but sit there and just wait for the next nurse or doctor or whoever to come into my room. I will say my partner was amazing during this whole experience. Like, she came in, she was there all morning, and then she'd go home and take care of our animals and take a nap, and then she'd come back at dinner time and she'd stay until I fell asleep. So, because, I mean, like, the afternoon is when most of your doctors and stuff come in, and your nurses have, because, like, I had, like 2-hour infusions of my IVs, of my antibiotics in the afternoon and stuff, so I was like, you don't need to be here for that. That's boring. So I was like, you need to go home, take care of the house, take care of the animals, take care of what you need to take care of in the house, and doing laundry, and she was doing everything. And she was doing it with no complaints, and she was just amazing. Like, she constantly was like, do you want me to get you something from the vending machine? Do you want me to get you something? Because, okay, I'm a pescatarian, which means that I'm a vegetarian, plus I eat fish and shellfish. Okay, because eating meat literally makes me ill, and it has my whole life. So I just don't eat it anymore because I don't want to be sick all the time. So they didn't have an option for pescatarian. So, like, the options were vegetarian, or they don't eat beef or pork, but not chicken. So they would have brought me chicken. So, like, I had to, like, fight with them to get fish. So, like, half my meals were just, like, a plate of vegetables. Which, like, for those playing the home game, a plate of vegetables is, like, not enough calories for you to, like, live. So my partner would just bring me food for dinner. I was like, please just bring me something, because I'm gonna die otherwise. And then I have to take meds. So I have insomnia, and I have to take meds to sleep. The first night, they didn't give them to me at all. So I didn't sleep at all, and I literally knit the entire night on that sweet shop blanket. And then the next 2 nights, they were like, we'll give you the medication, but we'll give you half the dose. I was like, the reason that I'm on the higher dose is because the lower dose doesn't work. So I literally got, like, maybe 2 hours of sleep the next 2 nights. And so I spent the whole night knitting. Like, I spent the whole time knitting. And so I made huge progress on that sweet shop blanket, but it was, like, the only project that I had, like, the mental capacity to do, because it's, like, it's pretty memorizable once you get it started. So I was just like, jamming it out. So good. But yeah, so that was very unlucky. I don't know which of the 2 drugs I'm allergic to. I'm trying to find an allergist that will test me for drug allergies, but the one in town, there's only one in town that I live in, and he does not test for drug allergies. And I was like, well, what's the point of that? But unfortunately, I'm one of those people that I've already gone to that allergist for environmental allergies, and it's so funny because they do the environmental allergies and they're like, so you reacted to everything. Like, you reacted to everything. And then, like, the food allergies, I react to, like, pretty much everything. But there's some things on there that I'm like, how can you be allergic to that? Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm allergic to iceberg lettuce. I'm like, iceberg lettuce is basically water. And, like, neutrophil. I'm like, so I'm just allergic to life? Like, I don't understand. I'm like, I get that it's a plant, but, like, how do you be allergic to lettuce? So there's some things that I'm allergic to that I eat anyway. So funny. The first time my parents came to visit, my mom, like, flipped out because my partner was making green beans, and she's like, she's allergic to green beans. And I'm like, meh, like, I eat them anyway. And my girlfriend had no idea. And so I was like, Like, it's fine. And like, I eat mushrooms. I'm allergic to mushrooms. I don't care. I'm allergic to soybeans. I love edamame. So I'm just like, whatever. Like, we just have to do it. The two things, though, for sure that I cannot eat are coconut and cashews because I legit have like anaphylaxis from them. It's problematic. Those are the only things I've had to use my EpiPen for, or coconut and cashews, because otherwise it would not have been good. But that's just a random ramble. But anyway, so I've been sick. I've been knitting a lot because I've been sick. I've been homesick, and then I've been in the hospital sick, and then I was homesick after I was discharged from the hospital because I was still sick, just not hospitalization sick. But now I have been cleared, which is great. So like your normal white blood count is between 7 and 11, and mine the whole time every time they tested it, it was like 16, which is like not good because it's 16,000 white blood cells, which is not good when it's supposed to be like 11,000 maximum. So like, it's not good. It's not good. But finally this week I went to the doctor and it was 9, which is right in the middle of the normal range, which is great. It means that I no longer have an infection or 2 infections as I had. And that things are getting back to normal. And I saw my dermatologist. I'm on all the steroid creams until everything clears up. So I still have some dots and things and pink sections on my arms where you can see where it's still healing from the hives. But, and just like I have some bruised areas like in here because my veins got bruised, and my arms got bruised when they put in my IVs, and when they took labs. So I've had bruises on this arm from the labs, and then I had bruises on this arm from the IVs because they can't take blood from above the IV on this arm. And so like they had it in my hand at one point, until they blew out the vein because vancomycin blows out your veins, and so does IV Benadryl and steroids, which I was on all 3. So my veins were just like crying, and they had to replace my IV like literally every day because it would blow out the veins. It was not good. But yeah, so I'm healing. I am getting there. I'm so excited about DFW and about that fiber festival in Oklahoma. And yeah, so I just wanted to share all of that with you. I am back. I am better. I am on the road to recovery. So, but just wanted to share that life update with you because it was a lot. So, and that is why there's been a little bit of delay in me recording as well, because I've been in the hospital and I've been sick. So, just wanted to share that with you. I am so glad to be back though. I will be coming back in 2 weeks. So feel free to check that out. And I hope that you all have a wonderful 2 weeks. I hope that your knitting plans go well, that your projects get finished, that you don't have a UFO that sits in your closet for 4 years. Even if you do, I hope you whip it out. It's time. This is the year to do it. 'Tis time. And yeah. So I hope that you have a wonderful day. Happy knitting, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye, everybody.